But it gives us the perfect opportunity to talk about some things, which I guess are a little unrelated to this match at hand. But a lot of people have been asking about merchandise. And I'm here to tell you that we have merchandise on the way.
We do.
Soon, TM.
There's some quite funky stuff you've gotten that I'm looking forward to seeing. Certainly we've got... I saw, whilst we were at the LAN, a lot of people were asking for like baseball caps or flat caps or something. Certainly a few of them are coming. I think, but overwhelmingly, I think tees.
T-shirts, yeah. But, you know, personally, I would not wear something in the street that has a massive escape logo on it or something. So we've gone for very sort of minimalistic styling.
It's a subtlety.
It is a subtlety, as you said. I love it. It's perfect. So what we're doing is we're doing small embroidered escape logos over the left breast. So it is subtle, still wearable, and in colours which can go with any outfit. If you do need some advice on what to wear our merch with, maybe some wardrobe fashion advice,
then ask Robo. Absolutely, best man to talk to. I'm sure he could help you out.
Exactly. So it should work. You know, it should be nice, and that's something that I've always wanted to do with merch. Make sure it's something that people actually would wear, and can go well with other things. We've got some high range stuff as well, some more expensive options. But none of the merch is going to be sold for a profit. It will all be sold at cost, so you'll be able to get the merch for a very reasonable price if you would like it.
I'm looking forward to those woolen sweaters you were telling me about.
Oh yeah,
more
lamb's
on that.
wool sweaters on the way. Let's go.
More on that later. But we are getting into this, ladies and gentlemen, the grand finals of the Tri-Civ Cup. On the back of the success of the Mono Civ Cup, we thought we'd try a Trio Civ Cup, and it has been quite interesting. We have got one hell of a grand final here, Kaiserklein versus tabben. Perhaps a rematch of the New World Championship third place match, except this time with funky settings.
Yeah, exactly. Funky settings. I can't wait. Some different maps than what I guess I'm used to seeing. Obviously, we've been seeing them all day, but it is nice to see a little bit of variety in the maps. And of course, probably... maybe not in the grand final here, but probably in general, some more matchups that you perhaps wouldn't typically see. However, in this series, we're starting, of course, with Iroquois and the Indians, but we're going to be going on to a Russia mirror and then a German mirror, and then a Russian mirror, I believe.
Yes, that's right. Then back to Civ number 1 and 2. Yeah. So we'll see the Iroquois versus India rematch, followed by probably another German mirror if we get to Game 5. So, we're saying, you know, Trio Civ Cup might enable some matchups you don't usually see, but in this grand final,
so happens.
we are seeing a number of mirrors. So that is how that's going to work. Thank you very much, Chrissy10101. Discovered a pot of blueberries. I'm not sure how many.
It was a gift sub from Nitrous, by the way.
It was a pot of blueberries, but it wasn't worth anything. It wasn't. There was no 60 food. Resting.
Just got jebaited.
He did, jebaited. Spawning in the south of the map in the colour red. Here's tabben playing as India on Great Basin. His opponent, Kaiserklein, in the north, playing as Iroquois. From the get-go, we see a trading post coming out of Kaiserklein. It looks like he found a 60 wood treasure, and off the back of that, decided to chop the extra and get that trading post down. His travois has been turned into a longhouse here. Going to give him some line of sight over on this side of the map. tabben, on the other hand, found himself 150 coin. A really, really nice treasure is India. Those elephants going to be really good at killing 3 wolves, which is what it was in the center of the map there. Picks himself up the coin, and that's going to be a really nice treasure. So I think both players had a pretty good start. I'd say pretty much an even start, only because tabben can't really spend that coin, and Kaiser has managed to do something useful with it. But we are going to have a matchup that I think is quite interesting. Iroquois versus India, not something we really saw very much of in the New World Championship. So,
no, I don't know if we saw it at all, in fact.
No, I don't think so. Maybe in the qualifiers, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
At least at the LAN, I don't remember seeing that matchup at all. And to be honest, I'm not really sure what to expect.
So my thoughts here, 70 XP going to Kaiserklein there, continuing to pick up some nice treasures, are that, you know, India probably going to have to aggro fort in base just because Iroquois can be very aggressive, a bit like, you know, how much we saw Russia in that previous game. Right. So maybe you can see a big forward sort of blockhouse, war hut from Kaiser. That is an option. But alternatively, you know, Iroquois can do stuff in the Fortress Age. You know, they play out a lot like France, actually. So, and as France, be quite happy to semi-FF and go up to the Fortress Age. So I'm interested to see how Kaiser takes it, given that he's gone with an early TP. I'm favouring that Fortress Age style. I'm not so sure. We'll see a forward blockhouse, and I think tabben thinking that too.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that aggro fort there will sort of help to lock down that TP a bit later on, the second one, and then obviously the one at the back should be secured to take if he wants to take them.
That's interesting. Yeah, you've got a lot of cliffs here that sort of give you access to the resources sort of more safely.
It's actually quite an interesting map because of those cliffs, because it does sort of restrict the movement through the center. You're either doing a flanking move or you're going down the middle. There's not really sort of any, you can't change sides very easily. If you commit to that top side, the only way to get down to the other side is by either going all the way back and around or going through your enemy's base. So
I wonder if there's much
quite interesting
wall potential. Tabben's been a big fan of walls this tournament.
That.
So maybe we'll see something like that. But tabben, I think he's quite confident that Kaiser is going to be doing something in base. He's not going to be aggressive. Otherwise, we'd probably see that aggro fort within range of the TC so that he could have that double stack when defending. But he seems pretty confident to come out here, and Kaiserklein going to scout that. But both players now are on their way up to the Fortress Age. Kaiser going up with the Wise Woman for
tired.
crates.
That's the Colonial Age.
Oh, yeah, pardon me. That is the Colonial Age.
But yes, obviously. I'm very curious if they do go for that fortress-style play, though, because we saw last game India really running out of those shipments in the Colonial Age, and that their shipments really do open up with respect to military shipments in Fortress, and you just see that huge stacks of military units right there, right?
Yeah, he's got a lot.
So I feel like you've got to get there if you really want to take advantage of your deck.
Yeah, I think we will see some. I think what will happen is it'll open with Colonial, some sort of sepoy pressure, and then follow up to Fortress as Kaiser goes up to Fortress. War Hut in base. I think that's exactly what he's going to do.
Yeah,
so I think
like
undoubtedly we'll see them both in the Fortress Age. But going out with the Wise Woman, 200 food, 100 gold, 100 wood there, and that's going to be pretty nice for him. So we'll see what their first shipments are, but so far, so good. That's what we're expecting, some kind of Fortress Age play. Shall we have a look at Kaiserklein's deck and what he has going on for him?
To be honest, I'm not too familiar with the Iroquois, so I don't really know if there's anything necessarily unstandard about that.
Okay, so he's got the 3 military shipments in here, but I don't think they'll be used. They just are in there in case he did do something colonial. He's got conservative tactics and these 2 upgrades here. The thing to point out about Iroquois is they have a lot of really good ranged infantry, because you see he's got infantry attack, which affects all infantry, as well as the the forest prowlers, as well as infantry hit points, and also infantry combat. So not many civs have this upgrade that gives skirmishers 15% attack and hit points, and Skirm Goon is such a powerful combo. Iroquois really do do quite well. So
interesting.
This is what he's got going for him. But canyon shipments, just sort of normal stuff, really, nothing super unusual. All right,
so tabben's going to move out across the map, sending a few sepoy forward and start sieging the trade post there. I mean, why not? He's probably not going to get too much done in Kaiserklein's base at this point, I guess. So
it's
just
just
poking, prodding, but not really committing to anything at this stage.
Sitting duck, isn't it? I wonder why he placed it there. I guess it was just where the Explorer was after he got the 60 wood treasure. Just wanted it down ASAP. This one clearly
How did
safer.
the treasuring go in the end, actually? I don't think we checked in too much on that. It looked like there wasn't any really big ones. The 150
huge.
coin was big, but there wasn't any big wood treasures or anything like that.
I think ultimately it was quite an even age one. I said because I think it was fairly even. I don't think there's too much to point out there. But yeah, tabben opening with where's his consulate? Okay, so forward Ottoman consulate here. It is quite forward, maybe trying to trick Kaiser into thinking there's something aggressive on the cards, but actually went with the Ottoman consulate, and I think text complete. We'll see what he must have got. I'm not sure what he's gone for. There it is. Okay, that's why I couldn't figure it out, because they've only just been arrived. So he's gone with 3 hussars. He's not gone with the villagers. So looking
That's interesting, actually. That does indicate that he's looking to do a bit more here with the Soar now grouping up with them. We're going to see if he can actually do some damage. What's Kaiser got in return? I mean, is that some...
That's a lot of tomahawks.
Yeah, tomahawk right there.
Play out a lot like musketeers. Looks like, though, being chased down by a considerable number of cavalry here. They want to tank whilst the sepoy do a lot of damage. This is not a good fight for... Okay, big button tomahawks coming out, I think. Yeah, big button tomahawks there. So 5 extra tomahawks. Going to bolster his army just in time.
Pretty solid.
And Kaiser...
TC.
Yeah, Kaiser on point, right? He's able
that was good.
Able to get those extra units just as he needed them.
Tabben, I don't know. He just increased his villager count, I think, a little bit considerably there. I'm not sure what happened exactly. He was behind, but he's suddenly just caught up again.
Perhaps, I'm not sure. We haven't seen Ottoman villagers just yet. It's not come in, and no foreign logging either. So being even 25-25, this is fine. I
With
think
a bit more military on the board as well. I mean, he's obviously sort of had this military focus now.
So that's true, but it's only slightly more, whereas Kaiser is already macroed to get up to the next stage. So I'm going to put Kaiser as being ahead here. He's managed to keep that trading post the whole time, stop Tabben from really doing any damage, and found the resources to get up to the Fortress Age. So Kaiser, that's where he wants to be, and has been able to do that without really breaking a sweat.
Yeah. Very true, and we'll see now if Tabben can sort of take this timing window. It's not going to be much of a window. Kaiser's going up very quickly. Fast age up in for him, and Tabben now has an opportunity to perhaps push and see what he can do before Kaiser does reach the Fortress Age and get access to those Fortress Age cards. He's going in now, though. We'll see what he can actually achieve here.
Yeah, I think Tabben realizes what's up. He'd expect a bigger mass from Kaiser, and he doesn't see it, so he's going to suspect that there's an age up in queue. Going up with the messenger, so going to be up very quickly, and Kaiser is now up to the Fortress Age, more or less. Tabben, I think, though, just going to come back and destroy the trading post.
Will ever finish killing that TP? I do wonder if Tabben can do much about this, though. Oh, hello.
This guy is crack shot, and he has a bigger unit stats boost to all of the Iroquois units, so that just going down for free is a mistake from Kaiser.
That seems like a big mistake from Kaiser. I mean, it seems very strange for him to just send that out there and let it get picked up so easily. Yeah. But the fact that he is now Fortress, the first shipment will be on the way. Tabben can't really respond to this with his own age up. He's very far away from being able to click up here by the looks of things. So do you think he just doubles down on the colonial and tries to deal with this by shipping more units at this point?
Yeah, I think he's perhaps going to kill the trading post. He's got these units here. Try and trade them off against the Tomahawks and maybe the first shipment before too much gets rolling from Kaiser. But ultimately, I do expect him to ship 600 coin or something and then follow up to the Fortress Age. Trouble is, though, Tabben was... Yeah, there it is, 600 coin. He hasn't sent foreign logging, hasn't got those 4 villages in. He is slightly ahead on eco, so maybe that's fine. But now Kaiser has got that first Forest Prowler shipment on the board, and there's a spring in his step, right? He's decided that now it's absolutely fine to start pushing out, getting in veteran Tomahawks as well.
Yeah, now is the time. Pushing straight down the middle of the map, straight to the Agra Fort. And I think the Agra Fort's really nicely placed. I mean, it gives you complete vision across the center pretty much. You're not really going to miss anything coming through the center of the map here. And wow, is that a proxy war hut on this
it's a
north?
war hut for line of sight by the looks of it.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. But here we go. Tabben calling Minutemen. Looks like he wants to take the fight. He knows he's got the upper hand in terms of numbers, but does he have the required firepower to take this on? Well, with the Agra Fort and the Minutemen, it looks like he certainly will. Kaiserklein retreating with his tail between his legs right now.
Yeah. Just trying to break the snare. He's trying to get rid of these Minutemen that Tabben put into hand combat. And once they're gone, he can sort of... using the pull trick, though. This is, you know, he's grouping small amounts of units together. This is really sweaty, nerdy shit to do, but it's working out very, very well.
Are you saying Kaiser's a sweaty nerd? Is that what we're getting at?
It's very impressive what he was doing there.
No, absolutely. I agree. I just think he's obviously overextended a little bit in the first place. And you wouldn't have to do those fancy tricks if you didn't make those mistakes.
Perhaps.
In the first place, right?
Yeah.
But still, does get out with a few units at least. He didn't lose everything. And this gives Tabben now the perfect opportunity to go up himself. And I think that's just played out really well for Tabben, to be honest.
Yeah, Tabben going up with the Taj Mahal by the looks of that. We're going to get some Somali tactics, ESOC Somali in the chat for that ceasefire, as well as the 800 coin that it's going to supply.
We need some more relevant emotes, I think. We need to be like more escape no lags in the chat, please. I mean,
okay, sure.
Not really relevant right now, but the
perhaps we need better emotes. No, I think the ones we've got are good, but this is very like the Taj Mahal is such a Somali thing to do. So I think it's very appropriate right now. They beat us to that one, I suppose.
They did. I mean, we can't jack that. Tabben might be.
We can't.
We can jacked, I guess. I don't know.
Second meaning to jacked, perhaps. Yeah, Sour, low HP Sour. This is quite nice of Tabben, just pulling off a low HP unit just to figure out sort of what's going on there. What is going on? Looks like Kaiser got to Fortress, and as we saw, like that fight over here didn't great. He was just trying to disengage. It didn't seem too good for him. I think
sent resource crates after so Forest Prowlers pushed didn't quite work out, sent crates because he knew tabben was aging, and now back to...
Just trying to mass now. He's in Fortress.
Massing.
Let's take a look at military units there. He's got he's going scum with musket riders, which are basically dragoons there, and some Kanya horsemen mixed in as well.
Scabgoon, you say?
Yeah, scum.
Familiar.
But you know, and this is okay, I think, versus the Taj Mahal. You don't well, not that Iroquois can get falconets, but you do have to have a unit that you can sort of run away with. And I think Kaiser's got, you know, good pull trick control that he could escape from a ceasefire, but there's something to worry about. Looks like, though,
round 2.
Tabben just got up, so now it's time for Kaiser to maybe try and take this aggro fort out.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, obviously, Tabben now needs to react again. Does seem like it's sort of been Kaiser in the driver's seat a little bit over the last few minutes. He's been the one sort of calling the shots, deciding, all right, yeah, I'm going to push. Tabben needs to be the reactive player. And he obviously doesn't want to lose this aggro fort for free. But even after sending the... was that 9 Gurkha right there? Sepoy, sorry. He still isn't confident enough to push out just yet. He's waiting for something. There it is
called.
That's what he's waiting for, perhaps.
Defending the... It looks like it's just a defensive use of it. Often we see an offensive use of it to try and get on top of the units, but just going to protect the aggro fort there. I think this signals that some Yurumi are about to pop, and you can see Kaiser's just not interested.
No, I mean, if you're Kaiser in that situation, you've seen how... You know, ceasefire has been used in the past. You go back, right? Like, you don't want to be out of position and get caught off. Even if there isn't a threat, it's worth playing it safe.
So he doesn't see the Yurumi, but and decides, okay, I'll go back in. But he's got them at line of sight. 5 Sepoy do pop out straight into melee combat. Nicely done from Tabben, and they are able to keep them in place. The Sepoy now up close and personal, but he does have a good number of Kanya, which are quite good against Sepoy here, and the musket riders. Actually, that's not true. The Sepoy, how many? Let's go to military combat. He's doing a good job of kiting away. Thankfully, those Sepoy aren't... Sorry, Yurumi aren't all that good against Forest Prowler. They're... And he has handled them all quite easily.
Yeah, the Yurumi are actually kind of stuck in the back. They kind of didn't get too far into the front lines. And then obviously now on the retreat a little bit. Tabben does defend his aggro fort, I believe, so that's good. Obviously he can keep sending shipments there if he needs to, but it looks like that could get pressured down as it's quite low now as he gets the repair. And he has to retreat.
And it's a really expensive repair, because the aggro fort costs 800 food, right? So the repair is 400 food if you repair it from...
Yeah.
It's quite pricey, but yeah.
That's interesting how that works, right? Like, let's just repair our walls with steak.
How does that work? The cannons and
no idea. Halo, what's that there on the left side? Just Sepoy just like
Sepoy just sort of
chilling,
asking for it is what they're doing.
Yeah, pretty much. Playing chicken with the forest prowlers. Yeah. But that aggro fort seems to be going down here, and Tabben just going to have to let that one go by the looks of things.
Tabben, though, does have a very strong economy. 50 villagers here. He's got the second tier food upgrade, blanket filters. Hasn't got Imperial bureaucracy in just yet, but quite an impressive looking 10 vils up on his opponent. But 3 Mahouts coming out.
I like it. On the left side, there's also a push coming in a little bit there.
Villages being raided left, right, and centre. Yeah. So that eco lead I was just talking about, sort of being compromised, perhaps. But a lot of Sepoy and Mahouts. This is just Muscuss on steroids.
Yeah, right. I guess the Mahouts are a little slower. I imagine
they're grouped with the Aruba. They do go a bit faster.
Okay.
But not the trees just getting in the way.
The trees are a little bit of a pain.
But Forest Prowler's good kiting.
Really good kiting. He's killed so many of those units on the retreat there. Look at that Mahout as well, going down to almost half health after one volley.
Yeah, it looks like Tabben really struggling to make something happen here. He's bled out a lot of units here.
Yeah, at this point I think you just cut your losses and go back.
I don't know.
It doesn't seem like a good time to push now.
But he has got them all grouped up.
Go.
I don't know. He just never really was able to get the Yurumis and Mahouts where they needed to be. They've only just gotten forward, but most of the Sepoy have been killed off by that point. Yeah, and with the musket riders in the back are being very diligent, focusing them down. More musket riders coming in to focus them, and that looks like Kaiserklein going to pick up the first game here, cleaning up this army. Eco's very even. I think Tabben can probably play it on, but he really needed to get a lot more work done, I think.
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, at this point, tabben has more eco on the board, and apparently he has more military as well, though it's hard to see how that military is being put to good use at this point. tabben just made some pretty big donations to the Kaiserklein military fund right there.
To the Kaiserklein investment fund.
Yeah, right.
Whatever it
just
is. Yeah.
Give him so many free kills as he just walks his army straight into him while being kited out, but it's like he's making a switch into Soar or something now.
2 double Caravanesi coming down. By the way, during all that fight, he had infantry combat active, which is probably why these forest prowlers were doing quite well. But yeah, going to switch into something. Let's go to units in queue. I'd like to see him make a switch to, say, Gurkha Zambarak, but by the looks of it, going to stick with Sepoy Soar for the time being. Maybe that's better. Soar quite good against the Forest Prowler.
How would Zambarak fare? Because there's not too many cavalry units out there, Kaiser, is there?
I think that's true. I think you're right. Kaiser's just got such a large skirmisher mass now, especially with the upgrade.
With the upgrades,
that going skirm against skirm just probably wouldn't work. You need to do something funky, something that can help you catch up, and Soar I think is the only unit that can really make that possible. Yeah, pardon me, that's five Renegado, 5 French cuirassiers coming in for Kaiserklein. In
all their glory.
I say they play out like France.
They are literally with the French units. But yeah, Kaiser obviously still not confident enough to push in entirely, but you see the hunt's starting to run out there. tabben actually moving out to that left side, and it's not the most safe position considering that just to the east of that, he's losing his trade post in the center of the map, and his redcoats are escaping from the consulate under night.
Rip. Yeah, TP gonna go down. Consulate might well be next. I think Kaiser, if he saw the redcoats pop, he'll probably ignore the consulate because nothing new will be coming out of it for a long time. So just gonna pressure onwards.
Okay.
Musket Riders going in a little bit too deep there.
The terrain on this map could make some really interesting fights. These trees seem to be like a real problem. And Kaiser could get really caught in the trees here. I don't know how that's going to turn out for him.
I think this is good.
Could be awful.
He's sort of trapped in the trees. The Soars are going to find it really hard to get on. But the bad thing is it's a pincer, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
It's really not good. So
he's getting a stomp off there as well on the right side with the monks, and I mean, he just got absolutely destroyed in the woods.
There's still a lot of elite muskets riders in it. Yeah, but I think you're right. Holy shit, that's
tabben just turned that around completely at that.
Damn, tabben! Whoa! Yeah, he got trapped big time.
Wow. Yeah, literally, as I'm saying, the terrain could make some interesting... Bam!
Bam! Just from two sides.
Yeah, that was really well positioned. I like that a lot. And tabben now taking quite a score lead, and even...
I think Kaiser walked into that one.
Yeah, well rip. I mean, I'm feeling that too for Kaiser.
Score is kind of even though. Military is... eco is quite even. So, yeah, I think Kaiser just went from being in the lead to now we're back on sort of an even game again. Though, having said that, India is up in military. He's got a lot of Sepoy here. But remember, if Kaiser can remass, if his villagers don't get harassed too much, his skirmishers are very strong. Those forest prowlers already stronger than skirms, and you get these upgrades, infantry combat, they become very, very strong indeed. But lots of Sours coming out, and the 2 Mahout shipment as well. Maybe this time tabben can make that work a bit better.
Well, what does Kaiser actually have left? Because I think most of his forest prowlers actually got cleaned up in that last fight.
He's got 20 forest prowlers at the moment.
So that's
he needs to be able to remass. They are very good. They are very strong, especially against the Sepoy.
Yeah, right. But tabben's going for a lot of Soar, it seems, at the moment. I mean, he did add the double caravanserai. I'd like to see him try and raid a little bit. I know, like, it's kind of, you want to keep your army together and such, and that raiding mentality definitely comes from AoE2. But seeing a couple of Soar on the right side, I mean, it could just do so much eco disruption, right? For Kaiserklein. He's got so many vills over there, just so exposed.
Yeah, AoE3 is a lot. There's a lot of positioning always good. It's like chess, isn't it? But yeah, I think some raiding could work. He certainly could pull off a few Sour. Trouble is, Sour are not that great at raiding, but that's all he has to raid with. I think, though, what he wants to do right now is make a push happen ceasefire being called again. It has recovered from the Taj Mahal, and I think
this time it's going to be aggressive.
This time it is aggressive. Yeah, he's trying to get those Soar and the elephants right on top of the forest prowlers here. Kaiser trying to pull his units to safety.
He's going to be pincered again, and he's not even going to have a say in this one.
Trying to get away. The musket riders.
That's going to be awful.
That's it. Yeah,
that's it. Look at Tabben's military count compared to Kaiser now.
Forest prowlers
are
going to get cleaned, and there's just not enough. GG! And Kaiser goes from being in the lead, and Tabben takes it. Tabben
well played.
Is jacked indeed.
Get those jacks in the chat. I think pretty much everyone is a sub now after the New World Championship, so no excuse.
Indeed.
Wow, well played to Tabben.
I think what we need, during that pincer movement, that was an AoE Pew moment.
AoE Q?
Pew, or maybe Pow.
Ah, Pew Pow. Gotcha.
Wow.
That was a Pew.
Well
played.
Rip.
You shouldn't say that. You don't want to have some caster's bias or caster's curse.
No, I was copying what he said.
Oh, right. Well, Kaiser is the first person to shoot himself down after losing a game, so I'm sure you're both on the same page. But let's see that timeline.
Let's see those...
I'm very curious about the eco, actually.
I think India is ahead.
Yeah.
But France,
France.
Iroquois.
You're really convinced that they're France, aren't you?
They play a lot like France. It's just skirm goon, really strong skirmishers. They do that.
Oh boy.
And then, yeah.
Well, good game. Next one up will be on the how would you say that one? Jebel Musa.
Jebel Musa.
I feel like that just isn't right, but sure. It's going to be German Mirror.
It's affectionately named Jebend Musa, and you'll see why very soon.
Okay. I'm expecting to see some kind of mushroom shape on this map.
I think you'll see it in just a bit.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It looks a bit like over.
You know what it looks like? It looks like a guy reclining in, maybe, well, the stream can't see this. Can we see the lobby?
Yeah, this little mini-map here.
It looks like a guy reclining in a hot tub.
Yeah, maybe.
He's got his arms up like that.
Yeah, he's just... Some funny shapes.
Yeah, the TP is his eyes.
He looks a bit like a gingerbread man, maybe.
Yes. He's got the right colour for it.
So this map is very reminiscent of StarCraft 2, actually.
Okay.
We'll see that in a sec.
I guess it looks very, very mirrored, in fact, It's almost like perfectly mirrored.
Yeah, for sure, the resources are pretty good. But in StarCraft, you sort of start on this platform, at least on some maps, where
and then you usually expand down.
Yeah, you've got a lot of that going on, and I'll show you why in a moment. But Jebel Musa, not a map we see too much of. I'm excited to see it. Not considered a standard map, but German Mirror.
Yeah. Let's go into it. Game number 2 here between Tabben and Kaiserklein for the grand final of the Tri-Civ Cup. Of course, another one-day tournament. Thanks, of course, to ESOC for putting in the $100. And unfortunately, I don't know why. I think they had some issues with their stream. They were supposed to stream the grand final, but they had an issue, so we're doing it instead. But thanks to them, and of course to How to Talk Please Help for increasing the prize pool by another $100.
Yeah, thank you very much. And next week we'll actually have a $200 tournament right off the bat.
Oh, we will?
Yeah, we will. It's, spawning in the bottom of the map, in the color red, we do have Kaiserklein playing as the Germans. Going to grab himself by the looks of it 40 coin right away. 100 wood, 100 coin start, so we won't be seeing any TPs, but that'll be the same for Tabben, who actually leaving both of them on the floor. I'm sure he'll pick the wood up shortly because you'll have to build a house. But Tabben in the north of the map in the color blue. And we'll take a look around the map because I wanted to show you why it's perhaps a bit reminiscent of StarCraft. I don't know why that comes to mind, but you have... Yeah, it's sort of a platform and very few entrances on sort of both sides there. But that's the map with a trading post going down the middle, 3 TP. And then on the top here, interestingly, you've got a Jesuit sort of TAD village and one of the traditional Apache ones, right?
Yeah.
So this is one of those few times in Age of Empires 3 where the North American villages actually come together with the Asian ones. Mind you, they're not so Asian-looking, being Christian sort of evangelists, but such is the way of things, I suppose.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting map for sure. It looks very basic, you know, but
and it's very small.
And it's almost like the perfect map for a mirror, because
yeah,
you know, everything is sort of mirrored, and it really will just come down to who has the better build, who has the better control, and who plays the better Age of Empires ultimately.
Going for 210 coin. That's a
big one.
Really good treasure, especially if you're doing some kind of semi-FF. You can sort of skip the...
What does Kaiser have on the other side? In theory, there should be another big treasure on that side.
Yeah, 80 wood. I would say that's like they're both tier 2 treasures or something. So
yeah, right.
They spawn in the same treasure set. Like it's harder to mirror like a big
of course.
treasure.
Yeah.
It's such is the way of things. And you said control. That's going to be the most important thing in a German mirror. They can be very, very explosive. German units tend to have very high damage and very low hit points. You know, Ulans, Doppelsoddeners, that kind of thing, right? So
just massive DPS and just very squishy.
You just kind of see like these very high. You've got to be so careful when when you've got Ulan versus Ulan, or really Ulan versus anything. You can't be making mistakes. You can't be sacrificing those units because they die quickly.
Yeah.
And their value is when they're actually doing damage.
I actually can imagine that like an Ulan versus Ulan fight, as soon as one person starts to get an upper hand, it probably snowballs extremely quickly because of the huge DPS that they have,
and
right?
the low HP, more so than normal fights, right?
Yeah, right. So I guess both players will be very cautious about taking engagement, and we might see some kind of, flitting back and forth, flirting with each other before they go in for the kiss,
Right. Yeah, I like that. It's a good analogy. But 210 coin to tabben, but I think he's actually spent 100 of it. I think what he did was bought some food and is going to be aging up quickly as a result of that, whereas Kaiser actually got 100 food. So both players, I think tabben, because he went with the early market, he was making it a bit harder for himself to get up on time, but thankfully the market, you can actually trade resources. So both players going to be going up at pretty much the same time. Actually, Kaiser's slightly ahead with the quartermaster. Both players actually doing that, of course.
Yeah, I was just reading the chat.
Who will get the TP first?
Oh, hello.
Kaiserklein will.
Yeah, he's got it.
This one, obviously, the one they want.
Wait, no, hold on. That's
tabben.
Tabben. Yeah.
Both players want that one just because it's sort of the furthest out of the way and the most awkward one to go out of your way to kill.
Right. But you get a bit more time to react if someone's going out that way. And I guess as well, I mean, if you do send your army up to kill that TP, well, you're leaving your base very exposed as a result.
Cap back saying the overlay earlier was Bonnie Springs. That's right. We weren't expecting to cast the finals, so we didn't prepare overlays for these maps.
Yes,
so we're just using whatever.
Bonnie Springs was close enough.
Yeah.
Although that map's a bit of a meme itself. It's a very strange map, Bonnie Springs.
We're bringing it back next week. I really like Bonnie Springs. I saw some great games.
I guess that's your decision.
Yeah, I suppose so. But both players going to be up very, very shortly. Tabben, though, with the extra gold, I have a feeling he's going to find it quite easy to get up to the Fortress Age. He's going to have fewer villagers on coin as a result. That 210 coin treasure, I think, going to be really, really, really valuable for him. But we'll see what they do. Both players now got their wood on the floor, and Kaiser electing to place a stable with it. Often you can see a barracks in this matchup, so it is, a matchup where that does happen. Doppelsoddeners, because you're up against a civ that doesn't have muskets, Dops actually become a lot better.
Right.
We'll see what tabben elects to do. Currently, no military building going down just yet.
Yeah, what about Kaiser? Is he, stable there? And then obviously, maybe, I don't know, tabben blindly going for the barracks. It's like...
It's not super blind. Like, you can do either, and it would be fine.
Well, yeah, sure, but in this situation, if you're going Dops and your opponent's going for Ulan, then you could argue that the person going Dops has the edge, right?
That's true, but you just avoid the Dops and sort of run around with the Ulans and try and raid and just be really annoying with them. Yeah. But ultimately, yes, I think because of that, when he sees the barracks, which he has, so Kaiser is very aware of this.
Yeah.
Kaiser may well add in one of his own. We'll see what he elects to do.
I think opening with Dops is interesting, actually, in a German mirror, because you're going to get the Ulan from shipments anyway. So it sort of seems like a very safe option.
Dop Ulan is one of my favourite. There we go. So it looks like Kaiser got the first slash in there. So it will come out ahead. But yeah, it's really interesting because Dops, right, they're quite slow. and they need Cav to support them to get the snare so that they can get into the fight. So you see,
that was close.
Snare coming in.
That was very close.
Yeah, so it's a very, very interesting fight to watch because you're frantically trying to get your dops into the fight, and the Cav help do that.
I'm actually surprised Kaiser went so close to that barracks, knowing that it was there already. You know, it's such a risky move. If you'd have got snared and lost those Ulan, that would have been awful.
There was a Cav waiting there to do that. But I think Kaiser, trusts himself as a player, and he knows that he won't get caught, and what he wants to do is be challenging villagers. So that's what he was going to do. But yeah, it's always like when you see dops near any kind of Cav, you sort of a little bit of pee comes out. That's sort of how that
feels. A little bit.
They are very frightening units.
This is actually also very interesting because tabben can force this now. Like, he can take that trading post, and what is Kaiser going to do about it? He can try and raid the one at the top, but Dops have superior siege.
They do.
And Dops can go and defend their outpost trade post, whereas the Ulans can't contest the Dops. So if you're in the position of forcing the fight, I feel like the Dops are quite a powerful card to have.
Yeah, but as the Cav guy, you can just run around and do whatever you feel like.
Sure.
And here, just look, Kaiser's so good, but did you see him kiting with his single Explorer versus that one Dop? And now coming in, and he trusts himself enough to kill the Explorer and not get hit by a Dop. Kaiser's he's all about these small little tricks here.
Trying to get that snare. Dop's trying to come in as well. You will get one.
Nice control from Kaiser there.
Yeah, again, like you say, just using his units very well. But look at the end result of that.
Very nice for tabben, right?
Yeah, the TP stays up for tabben, and Kaiser's TP is down.
Yeah, I expect Kaiser to try his best to come back in there later, but if tabben's careful, he'll be able to sort of stop that. But ultimately, Kaiser is now where he wants to be. Maybe he lost his trading post, but the Fortress Age is going to be really good, and these Dops will become obsolete very shortly versus, he's going to have to be very careful to defend them against skirmishes, is what I'm saying.
That makes a lot of sense. And to be honest, it's a very big deviation between these two players. This is a mirror match, but it's certainly not completely mirrored with the shipments. We saw 700 wood from tabben, 700 gold for Kaiser, and obviously Kaiser's now up to Fortress, and tabben is sitting with 500 wood in the bank. What is he going to spend that wood on? Well, it's not going to be the Fortress Age, is it? So he's going to be up a little bit later. Yeah, he'll have to defend.
I can tell you why that sort of happened there. So often 700 wood will be sent after the villager shipments. If you anticipate staying colonial for a bit longer, you add in perhaps a stable as well as a barracks.
Right, you get the versatility.
Yeah, but what he's done is skip the gold and thought, okay, I saw Kaiser go up there, I'm going to go up, and then the wood's still valuable for houses and stuff, right? But if you're staying colonial, you do absolutely need that wood. But Kaiser just had no intention of staying colonial. He wants to go up to Fortress and has a slight edge because he's there sooner, but ultimately tabben will follow him up and not really much will come of it.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see why tabben, or Kaiser rather, didn't finish off the TP at the top. He just started attacking it, and now he's running in toward tabben in the center. I guess he feels like he's got the army composition now to push in. 6 war wagons.
What he's got
good number of Ulan.
A couple of seconds extra advantage. Tabben, right, has just got up to the Fortress Age. So Kaiserklein needs to be here now because he's got about 25 seconds before a shipment pops to bell up these villages. Right, go into this TP. That's not a great use of that
time. Just killed a settler wagon. That's huge.
He did. And look, he's so happy to go near Dops. He's sort of sneaking them by. Maybe the war wagons can even baiting them in almost.
Yeah, I think he's almost baiting them there. And this is going to be great for Kaiser. He just gets snared, but he might. Okay, no, he's going to keep running by. I thought he'd turn on the settler wagon, to be honest.
He's taking damage from those Dops. But yeah, I think he's going to clean up these Dops, and then maybe we'll see him sort of get out of there, perhaps.
And that Fortress Age upgrade is such a power spike, and Kaiser absolutely capitalizing on that. We do obviously now see 8 skirmishers coming out for tabben. So
Klein going for the 1,000 wood there. Oof. That's he skipped his 700 wood shipment, right? Yeah. Whereas tabben didn't. So 1,000 is going to be really nice, and he thinks he's got enough of an advantage in this early portion of the Fortress Age that he can translate that into slowing down that much to get that wood shipment out. But going to trade off.
Killing it right here as well.
Skirm's going to be doing very well against the war wagons, but equally the Ulan's doing just as good against the skirms, right? So this trade looks kind of even, sort of.
I thought Kaiser would do better, to be honest, there.
But I think
fighting under the TC as well.
True, but I don't think Kaiser will be upset because he's gotten away with 1,000 wood, which is exceptional.
Yeah, and that's obviously a higher value card than the 700, so going to be happy with that. And at the moment, tabben still has got his TP up, but maybe Kaiser can go toward that next because tabben's not leaving his base for a little while. I feel after just getting hit up like that.
Yeah, Kaiser, or tabben, looks like what he's doing, he's going to wait for his next shipment, he's going to wait for his veteran Ulan there, and he's just sort of gathering away, sort of just remassing. Kaiser, on the other hand, with the 1,000 wood, is going to slam down Iraqs, probably finish up the market upgrades that he didn't get, so steel traps will probably be on his mind, and I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe replacing the trading post with that wood, but certainly a lot of houses is probably what he's going to be building, and definitely a veteran Ulan as well. That's going to come in. So at the, after all is said and done, we need to look at the economic pops, because I think at this point in the game we've reached that, after they've got to the Fortress Age, we've seen Kaiser try to punish it best he can. He got an advantage and sent 1,000 wood, and they traded off all their units here. Kaiser is ahead by a considerable number of villages.
Yeah, he is, and he's also getting another 1,000 gold as well, so we're seeing a lot of military shipments from tabben. Kaiser obviously taking the approach of sending the economy and then training the military himself. But both players have a large mass of Ulan, and they're both veteran right now, so they're going to be clashing very soon. Kaiser, some villas in the middle there, going to scout that, as well as the house, of course, which is well positioned.
Yeah, he's going to be able to see a lot of stuff because of that. Interestingly, only 4 villages were lost by tabben, but he's got more on that. I guess he was sort of really frantically trying to defend, so Kaiser did a lot of damage by the looks of it in the base in terms of stopping Kaiser from training villages, but I should see what's going to happen here. This is intense. Let's go to military units. Who's got the more cav? I don't think Kaiser wants to fight it just yet.
Oh, it's close on cav.
Turns around.
Really close.
Yeah, but there's a couple of war wagons mixed in, which will make the difference. But tabben adding in 5 more behind this, and the skirms do take down the war wagons, but a batch of 5 do come out from Kaiser rather. I think tabben's got this. Minutemen being called.
It's so close, though. I mean, he's losing his cav so quickly.
GG,
wow.
Okay. And I thought tabben would have it because Kaiser went with 1,000 gold. But
I think it all comes down to the Ulan, right? Like, it's so the Ulan count was even going into that fight, but Kaiserklein came out on top with the Ulan. If you lose your own Ulan, what are your skirms going to do, right? Yeah. So it looked really good for tabben going into it.
That was actually like a really intense German mirror.
Yeah.
I mean, the game was only 12 minutes 50, but like so
very
much
intense.
happened.
Yeah, for sure. And in the end, there, I guess it comes down to throwing the Ulans in,
but it just
and seeing what happens.
Yeah, those war wagons I think tip the balance considerably, right? They've got, I think, like
there was 2 war wagons for Kaiser and 1 for tabben, I believe.
Right, the red, but they just have they basically one bang an Ulan. Well, not quite, but they do so much damage to them. So having those mixed in, it was I think what. Yeah, but also it's the control of your Ulans, that sort of like fancy cav micro, isn't it? But yeah, that was, I think, actually a really exciting game, despite being so short. Like, it's rare that I'm just like...
And equalizing the series as well. And I think, winning with a mirror is much more sort of bolstering to your confidence than winning or losing a non-mirror, right? Like, when you win a mirror, you played categorically better than your opponent. But when it's non-mirror, there's a lot more variation and variables at play.
Yeah.
So
I think, though, look at their 1,000 wood and gold coming into play at the
huge
end there. Kaiser...
But look at the military units, actually, real quick, because obviously we saw a lot of shipments coming out from tabben. So he really made up here. It was all shipments. I don't think hardly anything trained at that point.
Yeah, when he hit up to the Fortress Age there. What was I going to say? I don't know. I guess it wasn't important. Shall we head on out into the next one?
Let's go see what we've got next. Bengal up next. It will be a Russia mirror in game number 3. And it will, of course, be match point after the following game as well. There we go.
It will be. I kind of expected Kaiser to, like, if there was a matchup he'd win, it would be that German mirror. Like, that's just, Germany is his civ, right? Like,
yes.
It's the civ he's known for, it's the civ he's strong with.
They're actually ready to go into Bengal straight away. Looks like the guys are both eager to get this going and see where the series takes us.
But I wonder, though, how the Russian mirror plays out. Well, I know how the matchup plays out, but these two players, I think this is going to be a very even game.
Well, we saw tabben winning with Russia to secure his place in the grand final. His approach was very much what all Russian players' approaches are. Mass all the things, get boyars and win. And if you don't win, well,
Oh dear.
Oh dear, indeed. So we'll see if there's a different approach here from Kaiser.
Let's see how it goes. Spawning on the right-hand side of the map in the color red. We do have tabben. 100 wood and gold start there. Explorer has 40 coin in base, but I don't think he'll be spending it on a market or hunting dogs or anything like that. I expect in this matchup we'll see them both go to the colonial age ASAP with 14 villagers, and every little helps. They'll be eating the yaks that they find to help them do that, and they'll be looking for food treasures. They just need to get to the colonial age as fast as they can. That's going to be very important. Kaiserklein on the left-hand side of the map in the color blue, playing again as the Russians, placing his house down with that wood. And Kaiser aggressively scouting forward. He's going to ignore his sort of treasures on his side of the map, just get straight into where tabben might be and start contesting them, making those treasure contentions possible. Not going to find that 50 gold, but will be finding yaks. So this, I think, is also another matchup that comes down to control. It's very military focused from the get-go. You see blockhouses, we'll see them maybe next to each other in the middle of the map.
That's always quite exciting, isn't it? Seeing blockhouses positioned next to each other, because they both want the land, they both want the space.
And we'll just see, it'll be who can base. Nice creeping. 100 food, that's really good for Kaiser. That's exactly what he wants to find. But there will be cows for tabben to eat as he goes up. But, you know, those first batches of units and those first shipments, you have to control them so well in this matchup.
Yeah, exciting stuff. And we'll see how the treasuring goes. 100 food for Kaiser there in the center of the map.
Yep.
Delicious kiwi fruit. Not just any kiwi fruit.
It was
only
delicious.
the best for the Kaiserklein.
Kaiser wouldn't have picked it up if it just said kiwi fruit worth 100
no,
food.
of course. And a few of the water buffalo, I believe they're water buffalo, being picked up for Kaiser 2 under his belt, tabben with just the 1. This map has quite a lot of good treasures, actually, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's a 90 wood that sometimes spawn, and no, it hasn't. They won't be spawning today, but it does sometimes spawn. 80 coin and 100 food seem to be the two big ones. Kaiserklein got the first big one, tabben will get the second big one. They both got big ones, I think, down there, you see. So that is the case. But aside from that, sort of smaller 50 wood treasures out on the map, and these ones that are sort of not as valuable, but easier to get.
Yes, indeed. So just kind of waiting to see where those blockhouses come down. Shall we see if the decks have been selected?
Oh, yeah, let's go to shipments sent. We'll see distributivism come in any second now. Kaiserklein slightly faster. 300 wood. Okay, this is interesting. So you can do either. Like, distributivism is obviously better long term, but the 300 wood, basically tabben saying,
I want it now.
He's saying, I don't care about that long game. I want to make sure that early blockhouse, you know, when we're placing them together and we're managing those first batch of units that matter so much. Often the Russian mirror can be hinged on those first few batches of units. So tabben's just saying, look, I want this to go well. And it's possible that Kaiser does just as well despite 300 wood being sent. Then Kaiser's in a great spot, but I think tabben with the 300 wood, he's going to make sure that blockhouse comes down, you know, super fast. He's going to have exactly where he wants it to be. And you know, Kaiser, his villagers, they're not, well, they might not be able to build it right next to it, because this is going to be up way quicker. Yeah,
tabben's going to be there, and we've got him now. There it is, right there, center of the map. About as central as you can get, really.
Kaiser can't go there. I don't think he wants to go there. He can't. Will he?
He could go past it, I guess, but that doesn't make sense. He'll go there on the left then. They're just going to be within spitting distance of each other. Just imagine them sitting in their blockhouses shouting insults across the river.
Like a Monty Python episode.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but look at this age time. Very, very close. Kaiser's slightly up sooner. But yeah, I'm very interested to see how this pans out, because tabben, you can clearly see he's decided that he needs this now.
Here's a question. Obviously a bit of a noob at AoE.
Tabben going up with a Philosopher Prince for 500 food as well.
Okay.
So different things. Go ahead.
If you send a shipment and then you build your blockhouse afterwards, can you still send your shipment to the blockhouse afterwards? Okay. So that's interesting, because he can age up and then have the shipment sent, and then the blockhouse would be the drop-off point. But they're just depending on the timing.
But the blockhouses were up just before they reached the goal.
For sure.
In this case, it doesn't matter, but that is how that would work.
Okay,
Let's go to units in queue then. Musk batch it both, and Kaiser looking to make sure that no sneaky trades happen. He's going to have a wall on either side here, and as a result, he can have this nice funnel. It stops units from surprising him a bit too much. I really like that from Kaiser. Muskets do come out though, but are going to take some shots. Perhaps should have been spawned behind the blockhouse there. That could matter. All the small things. It's so important.
Exactly, in the famous words of Blink-182. But I think...
I didn't notice that.
Why would you perhaps not open with Strellet if you sent the 300 wood? Is it because of the 5 Cossacks? Is that too risky?
Well, you could open with Strellet, but you would send 5 Cossacks of your own to match their 5 Cossacks. And you can. Well, you do see people opening with 5 Cossacks.
Okay.
But in this case, both have gone for Musk for whatever reason here. Tabben, I feel like the 300 wood hasn't really netted him too much of an advantage. He's not got, that much extra going for him. Let's go to military units, though. He has...
It's just very even at the moment. Tabben with the 5 extra Musk, sensing that he's got his opportunity to push.
I'll tell you what the 300 wood did do. Explorer goes down, but he's going to buy some time. So that 300 wood made it easier to get the houses down and everything. Basically means he needed to chop less wood for his blockhouse, and as a result he had more food and was able to queue more Musks and villagers at the same time, and as a result just has more on the field here. This is a great fight in the trees. We can watch it.
Yes, red silhouette.
I don't know why I'm zooming in on this.
But yeah, this is...
Tabben is in a good spot. 9 Musks to 4 and 4 Cossacks.
Ooh, but
a batch of 5. And there's 4 Cossacks as well, but 4 Cossacks of Tabben also entering the fray. We are fighting under Kaiser's blockhouse.
That has to help. That has to tip it in his favour. And Kaiser, indeed, slightly ahead now, but more muskets coming out from Tabben to join the fray. Having to walk through some enemy units to sort of link up with their comrades. But it looks like Kaiser there certainly starting to pull ahead a little bit. Does have all Cossacks alive now, and Tabben has none.
And that is going to tip the balance. Kaiser is now ahead there. Tabben going to have to get back. And it looked really good for Tabben to start with. Because he sent that 300 wood, he had to chop less wood and was able to get that extra batch of Musks out a bit sooner and probably queue vills at the same time, whereas Kaiser maybe can't do both. Sometimes you struggle to do both in the very early game, but ultimately didn't come out ahead. Perhaps he got a bit eager, came forward, had to fight under his opponent's blockhouse, and you never really want to do that because it's a reinforcement point and his blockhouse wasn't in range to fire, right? So bit awkward there.
Oh, there's the Strelets. That's so cool. That is so cool. It's like 13 Strelets. No, I have 13 Strelets. But that's got to go in Kaiserklein's favor. He's got the Cossacks up. And of course, against Strelets, they're going to be so much more effective than Musk. So Kaiserklein there, perfectly positioned to take a great fight, and he will. 26 military against the 10 of Tabben. Kaiser going to be very happy with that, and will perhaps take the blockhouse as well with those Musks.
Yeah, looks like he'll get the Musks, get the blockhouse. In fact, Kaiser's so happy with that fight, he's happy to drop some skirms off whilst the rest of his army sieges. A couple of Musks do pop out, and that will be enough to force him away, trying to kite with the slightly superior range that the skirmishers have. But that blockhouse going to go down, and I think that Tabben is going to resign. There it is, Tabben.
It's on a knife. Like, these games are balanced on a knife edge. I feel like they really are so close. As soon as one player just gets that, for me, when you see those 13 Cossacks coming out at the same time, the fact that Kaiser just had 3, did I say 13 Cossacks? I meant Strelets.
We know what you meant.
The fact that he had 3 Cossacks was kind of what won him the game at that point.
Yeah, it's all about those small things, right? I was saying, like, that one Musk took 1 shot from the blockhouse, and I was like, that could matter! Right? That's why. It's just like,
yeah,
the German mirror is kind of similar in the sense that it's all about this unit control, right? And Russia, this is just what Russia mirrors on just sort of happen to be like, especially on Bengal, where there's no trading post and you don't really have any other avenue to explore as Russia.
I think you put the score on the wrong guy. I know I know we're Tabben fanboys, but let's not make it too obvious.
I don't know. Kaiser's a good friend of mine. Maybe I'm a Kaiser fanboy. I don't know. They're both
I like them both.
I like them both.
I'm a Tabben fanboy.
And they're both great people at the land. They're really great to have.
So there you go. Match point. Kaiser getting a little bit of retribution, I guess.
It is a best of 5. Yeah, so it is match point. You're right. So I'm so used to these.
It's this one. The background. It needs to be stretched, doesn't it?
There
we go.
I did do a 1080p version of it, so that is kicking around somewhere in some folder probably. But yeah, we should delete that 721.
But yeah, it is match point. It will be back to or game 1 civs, India Iroquois. This could be Tabben's chance to pull it back, since this is the only matchup he has won so far in this series.
That is true. But equally, maybe this is Kaiserklein's chance to
prove
to not get his units pincered.
That too. Because Kaiser did not play a bad game against
not at all.
tabben. It was very close, in fact. Played very well. So we'll see that next game soon. But before we go into that, I will take this opportunity while we're waiting for our next game to start to plug Escape stuff. I talked about the merch. I'm literally just here to plug stuff, and I think Ham knows what's coming. I wasn't actually going to get to that yet, but there seems to be a creeper on the screen. Oh, God.
Bang.
Nightmares. But, yeah, we want to invite you to join our Discord server. We did do a giveaway in there earlier on today, and we'll be doing giveaways and things more frequently. I just spent the last couple of days revamping the place, making it much more accessible and hopefully making it much more of a pleasant place to be. So if you want to continue the discussion about these games, about anything else in general, join the Escape Discord server, discord.gg/escapetv, and we'll see you on there. Oh, there you go. It looks like Ham's putting it up on the screen. You can join the server, and then you can select what you want to see. So if you don't want to see Age of Empires 2 rubbish, you can not select that, and it will hide it from you. So you can only see what you want to see.
Yeah, we took inspiration from the Age of Empires official Discord with those roles, and I think it's just a great way to do it.
Yeah,
it looks so clean now. The server looks so much better. I'm so pleased with it.
Me too. And while we're on the topic, real quick, if you play Minecraft at all, we also launched an Escape Minecraft server. There's lots of people on there. Famous, star-studded Minecraft server. We've got people like Riot Coke, Mr. Bramboy. They're all in there. Doorjaw's in there.
Oh, God, it's the creepy.
So if you want to join us, all the information is in the Discord. You're welcome to join and play. It's something to chill out and do in our spare time, and it's a lot of fun. So with that said, let's get into our next match.
Kaiserklein versus tabben. Game number 4. Match point to Kaiser. The score is 2-1. This is a best of 5. So if he wins this series on Mendocino, pardon me, if he wins this game on Mendocino, he does indeed win the series. So let's see what happens. Tabben did beat Kaiser in this exact matchup in Game 1. This is the Tri-Civ Cup, where they bring 3 civilizations and they must play them in the order that they list them. And this matchup has already been played. Will he do it again? I think Kaiser really sort of got himself in a bit of a sticky wicket. I think that's a great word. And his units got pincered and sort of killed. Never mind. Exactly.
A sticky wicket?
I don't know what that is.
Sounds like something from cricket.
It does.
Cricket terminology.
Wicket. I wonder what that would be. Spawning, leg before cricket, in the south of the map. In the colour red, we do have tabben, with some ducks flying over. Very scenic. This is Mendocino. This explorer is going to be moving straight out into the map, trying to find whatever's there. ACXP. Pretty nice treasure for tabben. He can get his distributivism going ASAP with that. Nice to find an XP treasure before you get your first shipment. Always good. Kaiser, in the north of the map, in the colour blue, playing as the Iroquois again. Looking forward to seeing how he might play this matchup differently. Finds AC food, which actually, you know, last time he found a wood treasure and decided he'd go for a trading post, and we thought he'd go for something fortress-orientated, which is what he did. Maybe this time we'll see him play it completely differently. I wouldn't be surprised to see, perhaps, you know, with that food, a faster age up and a forward blockhouse and, pardon me, war hut, and play it very much like Russia does. But I don't know. Kaiser, he likes his fortress age playstyle, and he's pretty good with France. He knows what to do against India with France. I imagine he'll sort of try something semi-related anyway. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we will indeed see as the treasuring continues. But yeah, I like this map as well. It's another one of those sort of maps where the center is sort of blocked off by those 2 large pits. You would call them pits.
Pits of despair.
Yes. That's where the loser of this game goes to.
Okay.
If it's tabben.
Has managed to get the snare. And that's going to go in for the stun if it can get there. Keep it moving. Outlaw Rifleman, really good. Lots of damage. Tabben is not in a good spot here. He's going to lose his Explorer, which is literally on 0 HP, but still moving. Dead man walking. It does go down, though. Not good to lose the Explorer there, but, you know, very, very powerful Outlaw Rifle. 186 HP and 40 ranged attack is just absurd on a unit in the Discovery Age. Going to make short work of these Black Bears and pick himself up 135 XP there. So, that's nice. Interested to see how he proceeds, what strategy he goes with. But tabben's, because of his XP treasure, gets his first shipment in sooner than Kaiserklein does.
Yep. And honestly, I don't have much to say at this point, because at this point it is all speculation.
It is.
And I don't have the knowledge to speculate, but I do have the knowledge to say what I see. I see 90 treasure being picked up by tabben.
That's a good one. We can talk about
90 treasure, 90 food. I must be getting tired.
We can talk about who... There's quite a, I'd say, even 80 XP and 90 food, 2 big treasures for tabben, one of which was like allowed him to get distributivism in like 20 seconds sooner, which gives him a bit more wood. So, you know, that 80 XP is a bit of a wood bonus as well. But Kaiser's treasures are just bigger, 135 XP, 80 food. So quite an even age 1 overall, although Kaiser did get 2 smaller muskrat treasures, those beavers there. So I think Kaiser comes out ahead. But this is the moment of truth, because you will be seeing that Travois come out very shortly, and maybe that will turn into a forward war hut, perhaps not. I'm going to go with a trading post during transition, though. Placing that down. I think he will play in the Fortress Age. Should we take a look at their decks again?
Oh, that's the same deck as last time. It's exactly the same deck. That's exactly the same deck. Wait, actually, is it? It's definitely the same Age 3 deck.
No, it's different. It's got Enlist Irregulars in here, unless I missed that last time, which is basically the Colonial Militia shipment for India. Cool. In base Agra Fort, though. So tabben respecting the...
Yeah, well, I guess, I mean, where do you go forward on this map? If you do go forward, I guess you would go sort of close to your TP on the right side, but he's not going for a TP yet. And I think on the first match, or the first game, he did build that Agra Fort forward. He did secure the TP, but then lost it all later on. It looks like this time he's sticking it home. Consulate going up as well.
That's interesting. You know, often you don't get your consulate down until sort of 7 or 8 minutes. You start with a market, actually, and go from there. But you can be really aggressive, but it's all in base. I don't think he will. I find that really interesting that he's gone for the consulate so soon.
And to be honest, I'm actually interested to see how the games play out differently, right? Like, I know people are all for variety, but personally, I like to see those little differences and see, okay, the variety within the civilization itself, the variety within the matchup itself. We've seen Iroquois and India play out once today. Are we going to see it play out completely differently the second time?
So far, Kaiser's doing very much what he did last time. 5 villages, getting his market down, hunting dogs, place of mines, getting a trading post, setting up all the things you would usually see from someone looking to go up to the Fortress Age. He's not training any military units, or at least I don't think he is. Macroed with food and gold.
Remember last time, actually, tabben got sort of trapped or sort of baited into getting aggressive in the Colonial, and Kaiser just went straight up to Fortress, right? So maybe this time tabben's thinking, well, if Kaiser's going to do the same as the first game, then I'm actually just going to get greedy myself and play it out that way. I've not seen a single military unit from him yet, and at this point last game he had a few Soar out, he had a few Sepoy out, and he was making a little push.
I'm actually baffled by this consulate. He's not sent in diplomatic intrigue, which you need to do to ally. Well, you can ally without it, but diplomatic intrigue gives you 300 exports, so you can actually buy stuff from the consulate as well as ally with somebody. And the alliance costs quite a lot of export, and the price of it is considerably reduced, but that's also something diplomatic intrigue does. It makes it cheaper to ally. But he's not gone with it, so...
Maybe that'll be his next shipment then. I mean, he's gone for the 600 wood and put down a market, and now some walls, as well as the TP on the far east of the map. So there it is, yeah.
There it is. It seems like an odd building to make so soon. Like now, if this Caravanesi, which cost the same, was consulate, then that would make more sense. But not sure what tabben's got in mind, but so far, I don't really think it matters because Kaiser's not being aggressive or anything like that. In fact, Kaiser now up to the Fortress Age, so very much seeing what he did last time. And by the looks of it, went up with the messenger there. He's going to get his Travois and age up very quickly, and we'll see sort of where that goes. I expect in the middle of the map, another war hut. We'll have it in base 1.
Yeah, I mean, Kaiser is incredibly quick, isn't he? I mean, it's just such a quick up to age 3 here, and India sort of sitting back, and probably, I imagine, will be going up soon as well, but just sort of at the moment. Has he got anything in Q. Okay, so he's actually training Sepoy at the moment.
Yeah, he's got Sepoy and Q at the Agra Fort there, it would seem. But Forest Prowlers now starting to come out, and that forward war hut, 8 Forest Prowlers. So going to start Skirm Heavy, which is going to be really good against the Sepoy. And starting Skirm Heavy without anything to really protect him. I guess he's got the 5 muskets.
Would it not make sense for tabben to go, you know, Gurkha Zambarak?
Yeah, it would.
Like, just it seems to be a...
So there's 2 ways of doing it. You can try and... You play the Skirm War, where you both mass skirms. But that's... I don't know. Iroquois do that really well. They've got the...
Right.
They've got all these upgrades for skirms, but you know that's often what you see. Like you have those sort of semi-FF wars where people just go skirm goon versus each other, and Gurkha Zambarak is exactly that. But the other option is to go Musk Huss, and in this case it's actually Sepoy Sour. And the Sowar, if you train enough of them with the gardeners, they can contest the skirmishes, and the Sepoy can fire in the back whilst these are tanking. So I think
it
either
seems like I was wrong about going up to Fortress, though. I mean, he's definitely seeing the threat of Kaiser here being up so fast and probably thinking, well, need to get something out here to deal with his push. I thought perhaps he would go up because obviously he's walled up a little bit. He's played such a defensive game so far. And indeed, he is still playing quite defensively up till this point, but he has massed some units and he's probably ready to take the fight.
Yeah, we'll see. It looks like he's ready to go, so absolutely. Scout, very low HP unit, but is going to see them. Nice use of the Treasure Guardian. And he sees the Forest Prowlers and decides, actually, that's not for me. He gets back inside behind his walls, whilst Kaiser continues to mash their mashed potato. More Sour and Q and Forest Prowlers. Going Tomahawk, Elite Forest Prowler. So Skirm Musk, basically.
Interesting. Which I don't see a huge problem with that.
No,
I see Tomahawk would deal well with the Sour then in that case.
Yep.
And deciding to siege the Agra Fort, but again doesn't want to get too close. At least on this map, at least at this point in the map, he won't get too trapped with the trees. But here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
He is engaging, and at this point, tabben has a much larger mass of military units. Question is, will they be able to perform as well?
Yeah. Kaiser sort of kiting backwards, using the skirmishes. Now going into hand combat, zones away the cavalry, and because they're gone, Tomahawks go forward. Tomahawks just here to protect the skirms. The cav trying to get a nice angle around the side here. Tomahawks a little bit they're on the wrong side, but can sort of drag box them together, and the Tomahawks will go straight to the front of the group.
Good kiting.
Sepoy have closed the gap, which is what they need to do.
Oh yeah, they're on top of them.
Muskets against skirms are actually quite good once you close the gap, especially Sepoys here. So this is quite nice.
But I have to say, Kaiser is definitely coming out on top in this fight so far.
Looks good, but this is what tabben needed right at the moment. But the trees are causing some issues there. The Huss and Cav on the right side, but I think the trees were enough, and now the Tomahawk's back in position to deal with the Cav.
This time the trees actually worked in Kaiser's favor. I mean, that's karma right there. But yeah, that definitely went very well for Kaiser. He went into that with a smaller military, so came out with a much larger one after receiving some Kanyes as well. And 35-8 military right now for Kaiser.
Absolutely decimated.
So good. I think the army control there was fantastic. As he pulled away, he was kiting the whole time, picking off units the whole time. And now, what's tabben to do?
Yeah, Kaiser representing that strong unit control that we often see and now come to expect from him. Does always seem to impress me, whether it's pulling or kiting all day long.
I think tabben now risks getting stuck in the colonial age, and I don't think he can necessarily afford that.
He needs one of those pincer moments like last time.
He does.
Trouble is here, like the ecos are quite similar, right? And Kaiser just has a big military advantage, and he's got the map control, he's got the infrastructure, you know, two war huts, and there's the wise woman coming in, 1,200 resources, just going to convert that all. And this is what you want to do in moments like this where you don't need military shipments. Crates are good because you just train units and get the XP from training them, which you don't from shipments.
10 Tiger Claws, by the way. Something for tabben, but maybe not enough. Probably not enough.
I used to call these Dragon Claws by mistake.
Why?
Because, you know, Dragon Claws. And that's what they're wielding, right?
D-Claws.
D-Claws.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, it only costs, what, 500 gold?
What, D-claws?
No,
it's like 23 mil.
Yeah, well...
GG. Tabben
shipment.
coming out with... I think he
sure.
realizes that, yeah, these ones are cheaper. Yeah, 500 gold. That's for sure. A bit of a RuneScape joke there for those not following along. I think Kaiser...
Yeah, Kaiser won that game with that engagement in the middle of the map.
And Tabben's just like, well, my eco is...
It's dog.
It's just the same as yours, and what do I have going for me? And yeah, Kaiser does win. That was the final game. Oh my goodness!
That's it.
I was, we're so used to this best of 9 series in the New World Championship that when you've got a best of 5, it seems quite short. But yeah, congratulations to Kaiserklein, proving that he is on form today. Very well done. And there it is, Tabben. He did win that very first game. Looked pretty good. And I really enjoyed that. That was actually a really good series. That first game that Tabben did, it was a bit back and forth. Kaiser looked like he was winning, and then we saw 2 very, very interesting mirrors. I think, although they were quite short, they were quite tense, they were quite enjoyable.
Yeah,
I think good examples of Age of Empires 3. It can be short, but it can still be exciting.
Short but sweet, but also balanced on a knife edge. That's what those mirrors are all about. And I think it's fascinating to see mirrors in action when they are so close like that. When it is so good.